So there's obviously not that much diversity, like in shaping.
Yeah.
So how do we create boards that are like for a diverse population, you know?
Great question.
That's an amazing question. Yeah. Would you like a job?
Yeah.
No, I think it's an amazing question, and it's true.
Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Leighton. On this episode, it's the recording of the Q&A session that we did at the Bristol Board Shapers Expo.
Yeah, the Bristol Board Shapers Expo. Great
good day. It was a good day.
Couple of days, actually.
Yeah. Seeing it was the first one as well. Thought it was really good.
Yeah, really good time. Loads of shapers and makers and
just people in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing I enjoyed probably the most, was just meeting like-minded people.
Yeah, just chatting and, you know, having a laugh, and it was a good day.
It was a great day.
Wetsuit in Devon, who came down incognito, didn't introduce himself until he left, and he went, "Yeah, I met you earlier." It's
the elusive surfing Devon guy.
The elusive surfing Devon.
Nobody knows who he is.
Before we get into this, don't forget, if you head over to North Core and you can use the discount code SS2022, that is SS2022, and that will get you 15% off anything you order from North Core.
And we now have Surface wetsuits on board, so if you'd like 10% off a Surface wetsuit, go over to their website and type in the code the UK Surf Show 10. That's all uppercase with no spaces, and you're 10% off a Surface wetsuit.
Yes, and you will talk about wearing your new Surface wetsuit at the end of the show.
Yeah, so I tried mine out, and I've also tried out the Solite boots, and I'll talk about them at the end.
Yeah, so we're going to the Surf Shapers Expo now, which was held at Campus Pool Skate Park in Bristol, and should say thank you to Andre for putting that on, because he did an absolutely sterling job of putting that on.
And some of the audio, so the guys were meant to come up to ask the questions at the microphone, but some of the kind of responses to the answers were not at the microphone, so it kind of makes sense, but you have to bear with us.
Yeah. Trying to record a live podcast with questions and answers from the audience is a very difficult job. It was difficult because the room was quite small. It wasn't small, but it was small. It's like a cafe, and the walls were it was intimate, but because the speakers were then bouncing off the walls and coming back, I had an audio nightmare. I won't even go into it, but we got there, and you'll hear this is what it is. So here we go.
The Bristol Board Shapers Expo. Before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you to Andre for putting this on. It's really nice of him. So a round of applause for Andre.
You.
Yeah, this is showcasing, the Bristol surf scene, which is great. Come on in, mate. So I'll just introduce ourselves if you don't know who we are. So Pete and I host a podcast called the UK Surf Show. We've interviewed a lot of these guys. The other day somebody called us the Bill and Ted of the surf scene, which is like... So I thought that was because, maybe we're cool.
No, I thought it was because we just can't use our instruments.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, we're just rubbish at what we love. So that's probably what it is. If you've got any questions for these guys, all these guys are the shapers. We're going to do the Timper shapers after this, along with Logfin Co. and Arbro Surfboards and all the other guys. But so these guys are the other shapers. So if you'd like a question, there's a question mic here. All this has been recorded for the podcast. So if you want to hear yourself on the podcast, feel free.
It's a really nice experience listening to yourself, It's something you have to get used to.
Yeah, but Mike is open to questions. So we have Dom from Origin Surf Co. We have Leaf Surfboards. We have Untitled Surfboards, and we have Phoenix Surfboards. So if there's any questions for these guys about anything at all, they said they'll answer all personal questions. It's not a problem at all, even down to bank details. So, please come up to the mic and ask a question. If not, we can kick it off, can't we?
We can wing it.
We can wing it. Do you want me to go over to that mic and make it real?
No, do it there.
Okay, I'll sit down.
So guys, absolutely brilliant. If we should go round, how do you go through the process of shaping a board, and where do you start? Go on, Dom, you kick it off.
So I guess everyone will do this stuff differently. For me, it starts with questions, lots of questions. Typically, my custom book is pretty full, so I don't do a lot of stock boards. I do a lot of custom work, and it's all about understanding exactly what that customer needs, before I start designing anything. I want to know what they're riding, what works for them, what doesn't work, and really hone in on what they need to be happy. So, yeah.
Yeah, is that the same for you guys, or there's a mic just down there for you?
Yeah, similar process of just really ironing out what their issues are, what they kind of like and dislike from old boards, and what they kind of want to achieve with their surfing, and then trying to dial that conversation into a design. Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah.
I guess it would be, how people want to surf, and also where they want to surf as well. It comes into it, like the waves that they like to surf, and how they want it to feel, basically.
Does it help seeing like video footage of somebody surfing then? Because like with the wave now, does it make your job easier?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And what about yourself, Ben?
Yeah, it's very similar, really. Just getting honesty out of the customer as well, and making sure you know exactly what they need out of it. You know.
Yeah.
Rather than how they think they surf.
Yeah.
Because I know, I'm the best surfer out there, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Which is what a lot of people think. Yeah, that's what a lot of people think when they come to you. Is that a really difficult thing to get out of people, how they honestly surf? Or?
Yes, it is, yeah. But if you ask them, enough, then they'll generally quite...
How often does that translate into the design of the board where, if someone's not exactly honest on how they surf, or they think they surf in a different way, do you know what I'm trying to say? How difficult
the board
is that?
Won't perform the way they need it to. They won't have enough foam, or they won't be able to catch the waves, they won't be able to do turns. It would just compromise whatever's needed, really.
So, gentleman just joined us. There is Connect Surf, is that right?
Surf Connection.
Surf Connection, that's right. So he supplies all of the components for shapers. You might see them in the corner. You can see the board blanks, and the resin they use, and all the cloth and things like that. So obviously somebody asked to ask a question. Does anybody have any questions at all about, are you looking at buying a custom board, or interested in how a board is shaped or made in any way, and please ask a question. Okay, guys,
Can shapers ask other shapers questions?
Yeah, let's do that. So you can really catch each other out, really, can't you? Because why it's a difficult question. So. Yeah,
No, that's mean. That's mean. That's really mean.
I mean, it's sort of the social equivalent of a drop-in, really. I mean,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, who's going to kick it off? Who's going to take the first blow?
Give us a topic.
Okay. No, I can't say fins, can I? Because you'll get really angry if I say fins.
No.
Okay, so let's just go for the board shape, because longboard and shortboards rivalry is always a nice topic to talk about. So let's kick that off then. How do you guys feel about those two different shapes?
yeah, I'll jump in. I don't care, to be honest. No. I wasn't thinking in terms of my customers and what they ride. I was thinking in terms of myself. I ride it all. My quiver ranges from 5'10" up to 11 foot, and I ride all of it because I'm genuinely in love with these crafts, and they all work differently. And the only way to really understand that, I think, is to ride them all. Just try stuff and see how it goes. So that's what I do. I build it all. I ride it all. I love them all.
I think there's also a kind of crossover into the sort of, I guess you can call them alternative or hybrid surfboards, which are kind of really kind of big, chunky, supportive boards built for mush, slushy waves that kind of we get a lot of. And I think the great thing about them is that they take elements from longboards and shortboards, and you really can kind of sandwich parts of one with parts of the other, and you think that they wouldn't go together and that they would make it kind of react in a really stale way, but sometimes they kind of work magically. You can take kind of longboard rail design and the fact it's kind of really straight and elements like that, and make kind of shortboards quite straight and less circular and things like that.
Yeah.
And the design elements kind of can sometimes bind really nicely.
Yeah, so it's a bit of like a artist's interpretation of
For sure.
your own board, your own shape. We were talking about this earlier, actually, once you shape that lovely. So not a lot of people probably understand what the term is when it's called pig. So there's a board in there called a pig, which doesn't make it sound very nice. But
I don't know where the name came from. It wasn't very well chosen, I don't think.
No. But you kind of did a really good sales pitch. Cause
about 7 years before I started shaping boards myself, I kind of got into this stuck area, which probably a lot of surfers do, where you want to do things, and it doesn't matter what board you're on, you can't do them. And then that's when I always started making my own boards and saw these Californian pig shapes, and I thought, wow, they look really loose and fun. So why aren't there more of it? This is before they became actually quite popular. Why aren't they more in the UK? And now a lot of my shapes are either longboards anyway, are pigs, or basically what a pig is when the wide point is below the centre line, which basically makes the board more responsive. You get waves earlier. The board sits on a higher line. It's a bit of a no-brainer for me. But I took the Californian kind of extreme pig, which is like really fat at the bottom, and then tapered up the top, but made it more refined. So it's more for British waves where we don't have like point breaks every given opportunity and classic powerful surf. So yeah, I mean,
so I think you described it as a mild pig.
A mild pig, yes.
Too many jokes. Yeah. So do any of you ever, or have you come across customers where you just think, I can't help you? Do you know what I mean? You get that?
Not including Pete.
Not including Pete. Then no. You can't gel with the same person, or is everything quite flexible and you can always find a way around it?
I guess it's difficult when you're working with someone who's kind of obsessive about getting better instead of just enjoying it. And it's kind of much more fun to work with someone who's obviously interested and wants to know exactly why their board's doing what it does, but they're there to have just a great day out, instead of someone who is really trying to develop themselves and develop their style and develop this, develop that. Kind of a bit like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do those people kind of tell you a bit more in detail what they want, and you think, no, that doesn't work?
No, I think everyone's different. I just think some people are just really pushing the having fun side of it, and some people are just really pushing the like getting better at something. And it's kind of much more fun to work with people who just want to have a good day out.
Yeah. What about the volume topic, which is like kind of more...
Seen a few eyes flicker then, everyone, ooh.
I mean, like 10 years ago, did any customers come to you and ever ask about volume, or it just wasn't a thing then?
I think it's, it's definitely much more on customers' radars, the volume thing. I don't really have an issue with that. I think it's quite useful. It's definitely better than, I think back to the 90s when... no one even spoke about width or thickness. It was just like, oh yeah, I'm riding a 610. These little potato chips that had no volume in them at all, and no one thought about that. And now it's kind of swung back the other way, where everyone's like, or many people are hyper focused on volume, and that's kind of useful in a way, but it's not everything. It's a lot about where the volume is, and even if that's the right volume for you and the right shape for you and the break that you're at and with your fitness level and your skill level, because the right volume for John isn't the right volume for you. It doesn't matter if you're the same height and weight. There's so much more that goes into it, and you've got to have the ability to drive it. So
yeah, man. I think a lot of people get trapped in that as well, like what you're saying. Like it's kind of maybe a marketing thing. A lot of people will get pushed on these like shortboards and wanting to be like a pro surfer, and hardly anyone's a pro surfer. Realistically, like you're saying, the board that works with John at Pipeline, it's not going to work for you here. We don't get those waves, and you're not that good. So, like, chill out. And yeah, there's a lot of places to put foam in a surfboard where you're still going to get performance and you're going to get the volume that you want. If you distribute it correctly, you're going to rip on it and you're going to have a good time. And that's what people should focus on rather than just doing the mental down carb that you see John doing at sunset or whatever. It's like...
I think one of the big things in surfing at the moment is it's a lot more technical. Board technology is advanced, and with that you get things like volume and all manner of stuff and all vector, fiberglass and all this stuff. So it's some kind of an evolution of surfing in some ways. There's a part of it that's almost gone to like Formula One area.
Cycling.
Yeah. So I think that's a big part of the volume thing.
On that topic, do all of you use the same materials from start to finish, or is there a difference in what all of you use?
Yeah.
Do you want to go through what you use as in shape and materials?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I'm quite traditional in the materials I use. I don't really know what everyone else does, to be honest, but I think, yeah. But look, I prefer working with PU blanks. I think it yields a really long-lasting, high-performing product. It's not the cheapest way to build a board, but it is good. I like working with traditional resins as well and doing resin tints and that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of window dressing in board technology. So you see a lot of PU constructed boards, for instance, that have carbon fibre in them, and it doesn't really work. Like if you cut that open, that carbon fibre is dry inside. The polyester resin doesn't penetrate it. So, it's not necessarily an advance. It's just holding some extra resin there, and so I don't do that stuff. But anyway, that's what I do. I'm pretty traditional. I like it. I don't care what you say. Stuff you.
What about you guys? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm traditional too. I'll stick with you there. And polyester resin I like because I use a lot of colour work, and epoxy can do colour work, but generally if you want colour work, when I mean colour work, I mean tinting resins, so you get that translucent colours. Epoxies, you can do it, but it's a lot easier and it looks better in polyester, and it's a bit easier to work with, not as temperamental, and
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, well, Gary, do you want to come in and talk about epoxy?
But we use Dave's fiberglass.
We love Dave. I mean, because we don't think it's true that it's easier to use tints with polyester. I mean, you can tint and colour with epoxy. Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, and there's various ways you can colour with epoxy as well. You can obviously do the traditional method where you would dye a bit of your base resin, and then as soon as that hits the glass, you get that real intense pigment, and then you can continue your lamination over the top with your clear epoxy. Or with epoxy, because there's no styrene in it, there's no solvents in it, you can use other water-based pigments, such as really high quality acrylic paint.
So it doesn't kill the shaper.
So it does, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
What about... sorry. All right? Yeah. Sorry, Pete loves fiddling with his knobs. So what about buying a board off the shelf? So a lot of people will fall into the trap of, like you said before, like Surf and Pipeline. Do you find those boards just don't work in the UK at all, or do you need to be such a good level of surfer to be able to make them work?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes back to sort of volume and shape as well. It all kinds of works together, and yeah, your fitness level contributes a lot to your ability to surf a certain board. I'm sure if we all jumped on like tiny little short boards, you're going to struggle if you're just an average everyday surfer, a weekend warrior. When you look at people surfing Pipeline, whatever, they surf every day, all day at the highest level. You're not going to get what you want. You're not going to have a good time if you're on a board like that. But in terms of buying off the rack, I think that companies dial down what they're making for their athletes to be a bit more user-friendly, and that's more what we do here. You might see something inspirational in a board that someone's using, and then adapt that design and bring some of that and make it work for the waves that we have here and the level of surfer that we're talking to.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so that means people will see a board that they like, and you could actually replicate that board, but to suit UK waves. That's good. I mean, you've got to be pretty clever to do that, right?
Yeah.
I think with off-the-rack boards, I think that also comes down a lot to the retailer and to make sure that they're recommending the right things to the customers. You know, there's nothing inherently wrong with buying a board off the rack, but it's as long as you have the right information and the right guidance on what's right for you and where you want to surf. And I mean, essentially the same thing that we do with customs, really. That customer's got to be guided into the right board for them. So,
yeah. Is anybody looking at getting a custom board? Has anybody
Anyone
seen
out there
any
got
today?
any questions? Come on, help us out. Ask a question. Somebody.
Got it, Phil. Could you go up to the mic and ask a question?
Just, to make it more awkward.
First of all, fantastic to have you all here. Talking
Thanks,
about
Phil.
earlier, and he didn't realise there were so many other surfboard shapers in Bristol. So even if that's just connecting you up, then it's been worth it. My question is: are any of you doing this full time, or is it just a passion? And if you could do it full time, would you? Because the passion may no longer be something that you became a sort of hindrance to you.
Good question.
He's much better than us. He should host a podcast.
Yeah, Phil, do you want to sit here, Phil?
excellent question, Phil. I'll go first. I'm more than full time. I'm about double that. I'm very lucky to have some wonderful guys working for me as well. But yeah, between the repairs that we do and customs, I mean, I think last year I produced, it was over 100 custom boards last year, which is pretty phenomenal, and it made me a very, very, very busy man with an angry wife and poor sleep patterns. So.
And what about you guys?
I have 2 jobs. I make custom boards, and I'm also a model maker, set builder for film, TV, animation, point of sale. So it's all quite arty and design based, and they kind of complement each other. I make enough boards to keep me happy, and yeah, I mean, maybe one day I will switch over to full surfboards. But at the moment, just taking it as it goes. And, well, I'm doubling my workspace at the moment, so
great.
that'll be good.
Nice. I'm the exact same. I'm 2 jobs. I shape boards when I can, and I work in events building like kind of stages and props and like built elements.
Cool.
It's 2 jobs for me as well. I do visual effects for film and TV, like 4 days a week, and then when I'm not doing that, I'll be in the bay in Dom's workshop. Without him, I wouldn't have got anywhere so far, so it's awesome. But yeah, I think that, I don't know, I would like to do it full time, push it more, but then, as Phil said, there is a danger in doing that you suck all of the fun out of this activity and it becomes a grind. So hopefully I'll find a healthy balance, but yeah, way more surfboards than sitting behind a computer would be where I want to be.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Dom? Doesn't seem to have sucked the pleasure out of surfing for you, seeing you're doing it double time. So,
I mean, it makes surfing impossible. If that's what you mean, then no, it's still enjoyable. The 3 times a year I get to go. I am joking.
Hey,
it's
I went
phenomenal.
surfing with you not long ago, actually.
Yeah, we did.
I saw you for about 10 minutes, and then that was it.
Yeah, well, but it was a good 10 minutes though.
Yeah, well, you caught a right, and then I caught a right, but my right went halfway down the beach, and I couldn't find you again. I couldn't be bothered to look for you, to be honest. To be honest, I was enjoying the peace and quiet. But that said,
such a lovely man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, he is a lovely man. In all seriousness, it's a phenomenal occupation. I love it. Even when I'm working really hard, and the long days and all that stuff, it's all worthwhile. It's all super rewarding, and it's a phenomenal industry to be a part of, surrounded by amazing people. What's not to like, right?
So you get resin in your beard.
Well, yeah, it's true. There's that.
That actually brings up a really good question. Start with you and we'll go round. What's the worst mishap you've had while shaping?
Styrene in the eye.
Oh.
Yeah, more than once. Yeah. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, everyone needs a good eye exfoliation from time to time. It's it's a new trend.
Yeah. Ben?
I'm just trying to think. I'm quite careful. I wear protection.
Fully masked and goggles and everything.
Come back to me.
I'll come back to you.
No mishaps.
I guess before really understanding the importance of like insanely flapped stringers on boards, I kind of on one board I think it was kind of sanding through, and because there was a slight raised section of my stringer on my deck, the kind of sander went through the glass to the stringer, and that was obviously a lesson learned. I'd made that board like not watertight and burnt a hole through it, and that was
how much
flattened stringers.
How much did that lesson cost you?
Yeah. 300 quid.
I've stopped the power sander with my hand. That was pretty painful. Yeah. Never do that.
That was just met with silence. That was just everyone just, sorry if you're eating. Stop the power.
It was on accident, not on purpose. It just kind of,
yeah.
Okay, great.
Right, yeah, you win.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try something out here. I've stolen it from someone else, so we'll see how this goes. But all of you shapers, put your hands up, and then put your hands down when it's not a yes to my question. Okay? So.
Interesting.
When it's not a yes.
Wait, let me try
cool,
this.
cool.
So, if you're a woman, put your hand down. If you consider yourself from an ethnic minority, put your hand down.
Do Australians count? No.
Do gypsies count?
I guess if you're under the age of like 25, put your hand down. So there's obviously not that much diversity, like in shaping.
Yeah.
So how do we create boards that are like for a diverse population, you know?
Great question. That's an amazing question. Yeah. Would you like a job?
Yeah.
No, I think it's an amazing question. And it's true. I mean, the industry is full of old white guys. Yeah.
How do you go about making changes for that then?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think really being open to anyone coming to you for a build, just man, woman, whatever, doesn't matter. Like just being open to shape and help someone along with their journey, whoever they are, whatever they are. You know, just being open to that, I guess, is the start. I guess, like Dom's saying, it's quite traditionally like you learn from an old white dude who's passed it down to his white kids, who then pass it down to their white mates. It's kind of traditionally that way, which is not something that needs to be worked on, but something that is kind of, I guess the way it is.
Yeah. Would you feel more comfortable in that sense, getting a board shaped by a woman?
I feel like they'd understand me better because they surf probably more similarly to me.
Yeah.
So, but I honestly don't know a woman who shapes like
me neither.
Business or as part of
Me neither.
business.
Only on Instagram.
There's a few in Cornwall.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a broader problem across the entire of sort of the surf media and what is put out. It's very much white guys, like women are underrepresented massively. As are
just in the community in general.
Everybody.
Did you say that you knew of some female Sherpas?
Send me their names.
Well, if you're here tomorrow, I'll fill you their names in tomorrow. I just need to look them up. They're not customers of mine, so I don't know them personally.
So, do you guys notice any barriers that might stop women or ethnic minorities getting into shaping, or is it just?
I mean, aside from the fact that the industry is full of white guys, no. But they're not barriers that I would notice because I'm not from an ethnic minority and I'm not a woman. So you're asking the wrong person, to be honest.
No, that is the problem with the
I mean, we
thing,
come
though,
across
isn't
this
it?
quite a lot just doing the podcasts. We do have we get a lot of female listeners messaging us actually. So we've interviewed Yvette from Waverley Heens, and it is just a problem in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just, like the guys said, it just seems to be that way,
I think
and nobody knows how to really change that. You know, it's the only thing you can do is just be as inclusive as possible and give people the opportunities. So, I mean, we have whoever on. We've said from day one that it doesn't matter, who you are. You're just a surfer to us, and you'd come on, and that's it.
It's strange because I think surfing as a culture is quite open, embracing, and people are generally friendly and decent, and so it's odd that it's present in the surf culture.
I know what you mean. It is for a culture that is so open. When you speak to people, it seems to be so closed off as well.
Yeah, it unifies us all, doesn't it?
Yeah,
the whole surf.
And particularly the UK surf community as well seems to be very unique, and and it's super friendly, and so it is a bit strange why it's just not more diverse than it is.
But do you think it's friendly from your perspective?
Well, yeah,
How many people do you speak to who think it's super intimidating, and actually once you're in it, it isn't? But
yeah.
So you think it's not because you're in it?
Yeah. So Yvette, who we mentioned from Waverley Heens, so she's a lady of colour and obviously a woman as well, and she has met barriers before, which is why she started a female surf club. But from talking to her, the feeling we got it is improving. Things like social media help with that. That more people see, say, women, for example, surfing, and it makes them feel like they can go. And also having clubs like hers around just gives somebody that kind of they feel more safe in that space to go and try surfing for the first time. But like we said, the community is an open community, so it's just a bit strange why it's like.
I do agree with you completely. I think it's definitely going in the right direction. I think it's just interesting to see here today, people who are shaping the boards, also as you'd expect, just not being diverse.
Yeah.
And at the moment, how you speak is more like a passive engagement and trying to solve that and change it. How can you be more active in the change? Rather than just being open to people coming to you, because those people might not ever come.
I know this isn't actually said anywhere or done anything, but and not to individual myself out at all, but all Phoenix boards are tested by women. So all our feedback and tests are actually done by women. We don't test with men. So that's our first initial step into moving forward to being a lot more open to shapes, sizes, ages, genders, whatever. And I guess that's a first little step, is to strictly be testing with women. So that's my start to that problem. Yeah.
Great question, though.
Brilliant question.
Great question.
No,
so good.
Brilliant question. It's something that needs addressing more. And like Leighton said, when we were speaking to Yvette, she came up with some great examples, and one of them was they had a morning surf video when all the women went out in the morning, and she said these two guys paddled out thinking they were going into a lineup and suddenly realised they were surrounded by women, and then paddled away very quickly, very scared.
Yeah,
and
so the tables were turned on that day.
And like you said, we, being white men, we can't understand what that feeling is like. So for us to know how to change it is something we're going to have to be told. So you're going to have to tell us what we need to do to change it, because we're only going to be looking at it from our own point of view. So I think that's where the conversation's got to start.
I hope that kind of answers the question. Good.
Cool. Anyone else got any further questions for these guys? Or we will let them go and we'll get the wooden...
Yeah, so the next
the wooden
group
guys.
the wooden guys. Yeah.
The wooden guys.
The next group of people on stage are Velamo Surf and Emperor Surf. So they create timber surfboards. Chris from Longboard Co. deals with fins for large longboards. We've also got Arbro skateboards here, who, I don't know if you've seen the guy who's absolutely ripping out there on the skateboard earlier. Surf skates. And I think that's it, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and so you can ask those guys questions. Just give us 5 minutes for a turnaround. Yes, you can. Yeah. Could you go up to the mic? That'd be great.
So I just wanted to ask about sustainability and how you guys address, because you're all shaping with plastic, and how you're addressing that problem.
Absolutely. I'll jump on this first, so that's cool. Sustainability is a massive issue. I think everyone probably has a different approach to this. The big thing that I notice from running a very busy repair workshop is what we have coming through our door. The vast majority of boards coming through the door, damaged, through very little use, are not built from traditional materials. There seems to be longevity issues with EPS built boards. That's just in my experience, and everyone has a different take on this. That's probably the main reason I don't use it, with respect to everyone present. So my take on that is I don't build boards that last for a season or two. I build boards that last for 20 years. And I think keeping them out of landfill at the moment with the current products that are available is the best way forward. So that's why I do that.
Unless you build a board for Leighton and it lasts.
What's that?
Unless you build a board for Leighton and he just drives it into the floor at the wave.
That's still going.
It is still going. It's all repaired.
Head first in the concrete.
Yeah, all repaired.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as Don. I build boards to last, and just, even if that means spending an extra 150 quid on Dave's S-Glass, which is stronger, it's like, if a board doesn't last, it's pointless. I mean, what's the point in buying some cheap junk from China, which is, it's not even cheap. A lot of the stuff's coming from China. They charge top dollar, and it just doesn't last. It's like, that's the biggest thing you can do. I mean, you can cut down. I also try not to use too much resin. Not much resin goes on my floor. I have a special technique of doing my resin. I brush the rails, I don't pour it, and that saves me like, I don't know, half a kilo, sometimes to a kilo of board of resin, which is quite a lot. And there's ways you can do your best. I mean, you always have waste, but you can do your best, and that's all you can do, really.
Yeah, it's a very wasteful industry. A lot of scrap and rubbish comes off from making boards. But I think if you try to be really militant with like separating plastics and really trying to like keep cuts and like saying use of resin to an absolute minimum. If there is any excess resin, try and turn into other products like fin keys and Indo boards and just balance boards that you can use them for, and just try and reuse products that would just end up on your floor, like you were saying.
So apart from what these guys have said, going forwards, I think there's going to be more eco and reusable materials available. So there's a company in France called Polyola. They make recyclable blanks. They're made from like a wood pulp. They still have a bit of PU in them, but you can send them back. They're offcuts, and they'll turn them into fresh blanks, essentially. So that'll be awesome.
I think they're made of plastic bottles, aren't they? As well? I think it's wood pulp and plastic bottles.
I'm not sure.
I think so, yeah.
But things like that coming on, and hopefully more and more materials will be like that, where there's more of a closed loop and you can reduce your waste. And yeah,
because the surf industry, the surfers are just naturally eco-minded, aren't they? Because they're riding on the waves, which are obviously natural and things like that. But the actual industry itself is not as much. So it's really difficult for a surfer to make the right decision if there aren't many products for them to do that, So things like that, like recyclable blanks.
Yeah. Right. But from my point of view, I'd like to encourage you all to use EPS blanks, because EPS is recyclable. It's not easy to find anywhere to do it, but it can be done. The epoxy that we supply is bio epoxy, so 30% of it is bio. That comes from a waste product from the paper industry. And we do have some cellulose fiberglass. Like all those materials, like flax, they're not easy to work with. but the cellulose material is 100% made from wood pulp. So we've got to encourage you guys to use it and move away from those traditional materials.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's another one that sort of relates to the last question as well, where the whole surfing industry has been stuck in not a rut, but sort of stuck in its ways for so long that it hasn't been diverse. It hasn't thought about the environment, and it's just been, this is the way we do it, and along comes the next one, and this is the way we do it. And I think you're seeing throughout companies now that it's slowly starting to change. Things are starting to move in the right directions. Like there's wetsuits that are coming out now that are
so we've got a wetsuit on display that got given to us by Surface Wetsuit, which is an eco wetsuit. I don't really know what makes it eco. It's something to do with Japanese limestone, the way that they...
I think it's the process that they make it. It's more sustainable wetsuit, and I think things that we've seen... I don't know. No, it's not you, Lex, I don't think. The things that we've seen in the surf industry are starting to move in the right direction slowly, but I think a lot of it needs to be pushed a lot further.
Break the tradition. Then, really,
I think it needs to be shaken up a lot in some respects.
I just want to add here, genuinely, the best, only long-lasting eco-built boards, in my opinion, are made from timber. And the guys that you'll see come up here next, they genuinely do make sustainable surfboards. They have incredibly low environmental impact and will last a lifetime. They will last a lifetime. They are phenomenal. I don't build them because my customers don't want to pay 1,500 quid for a shortboard. Like that's the reality. They just don't. And that's what you need to charge, and quite rightly, because instead of taking 4 hours to shape that shortboard by hand, or 40 minutes to scrub it out from a CNC cut, they're putting in 3 days of labour or 4 days of labour before they fiberglass it. So there's a certain amount of friction there between the producers and the customers, because ultimately customers can't always afford to pay 1,500 quid for a shortboard, despite the fact that it is genuinely the most eco-friendly way to do it. So it's food for thought. Yeah. What I'm saying is, don't buy boards from me, buy them from Noah and Matt. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's a good segue into getting the guys up here. So,
if there's no other questions for these guys...
Yeah, we'll go and grab the timber guys, and there's a few other guys as well. So if you give us 5 minutes to go and pull them away from all their customers they got at the moment, which is loads of them. And then, think of some questions for those guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks for that, Shapers. So the Q&A is in two halves. That was the first half with the traditional shapers.
Yeah.
By that, I mean guys that shape out of foam.
Yeah.
And now we go into the second part of the Q&A, which was with the guys that shape from timber. So our hollow timber surfboard shapers. And there is also
Nick from Shiner, who was representing Arbor surf skates and boards.
Yep, and also Chris from
Logfin Co. Yeah, we got to meet Chris at last from Logfin Co.
Super lovely guy.
Super lovely guy. We always say that, but he is actually genuinely proper nice and proper funny. Also, there's a little bit of audio I've left in that he said when you weren't there, just for you at the end of this as well. So you'll get to hear that when this comes out.
Excited.
He's not. Here we go.
The guys, all right? So it's a quick turnaround. I just want to say thanks to the other shapers. They're back in the other room if there's a question that you had that you didn't want to ask in front of everybody, which is fine. Go through and see those guys. So who we've got up here now is Velamo Surf. We have Emperor Surf. We have Logfin Co. and we have Arbor Skateboard, sorry. So timber surfboard shapers. And specialists in longboard fins and also surf skates and stuff. So a bit more diverse up here with not just shapers. So bearing in mind what Dom said about sustainability with surfboards. So these guys here make the most sustainable surfboards you can buy at the moment. So, questions, you're welcome to say them at the question mic. If not, we'll just kick off. So does anybody have a question before we start? So, no. Anybody? Any questions about the timber construction or longboard fins or even surf skates? So you saw this guy ripping out there earlier, right? Yeah. If not, he can do it again later. It's fine.
So, should we start with, because our last question was about the sustainability of surfboards. And Dom kindly said you guys were coming in next.
He actually said, don't buy a surfboard off him, buy it off you guys.
I'll believe that when I hear it from the horse's mouth.
So I'm particularly interested in what you guys do, because just from my background, I work as a joiner in the daytime. And you guys come from a similar background, but you've also surfers and you've moved into creating these timber surfboards. And not only do you shape boards for other people, but you guys are looking at putting on workshops so people can come and shape their own boards with you as well. So do you guys want to kind of describe how that would work?
Yeah, so basically, I'd say the biggest joy of surfing a wooden surfboard is basically the process of taking it from the raw materials to a finished board and being able to sit out back on something that you've created, basically. I think that's what speaks to me the most, and I think if I can market that, wrap that up, and basically give any knowledge and insight that I've got over the past years, all the random little tools that I've acquired that will make your life so much easier, if I can package all of that and make a very pleasant week-long kind of course, but, retreat, escape, whatever, that you can then walk away with a beautiful timber surfboard at the end of it, probably is the most sustainable board, currently, and made of a really beautiful material. If I can package that up, I think that's the way I want to go, to be honest.
Yeah, that's... I was just listening to you. I was in awe of your lioness looks. To be honest...
It's never easy with you, is it?
Oh, sorry.
So, if somebody came to a workshop, what would they get straight away? What are the bare bones that they have to work with?
Basically, I'd do what I would consider the very boring bit of taking the timber, milling it into long, flat, straight boards, gluing them together to make basically the tops and bottom skins. So you'd end up... That's where the course starts, effectively. You've got these two panels of timber joined together. Of course, the discussion starts before that as to what colours you want, what designs you want, what materials you want to include. That's all a discussion leading up to the beginning of the course. But on day one, you show up and we start gluing bits together, start the actual forming of the shape of the surfboard, and that's kind of where we start.
I'll just come in here. I think, there's only so much you can provide. Well, there's only so much you can expect someone to be able to do on a course. So you need to kind of have the building blocks there for them initially. So having those skins made, for example, the skeletons made in advance is something that, I don't know, you wouldn't expect someone to have the knowledge to be able to do themselves, and you need to have, put that in place beforehand. Yeah.
So
that's it. That's all you got to say.
So the shapes that you guys do, you can shape any board at all, any shape you like, or do you guys have your own shapes that you like to use?
In terms of our own models or designs?
Yeah, would somebody be able to kind of design a custom one?
Oh, Absalom.
Yeah, would somebody be able to design a custom board and then you guys could kind of get all those bare bones?
If someone had their own plans?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we could definitely.
So people could make whatever they like, then they could come and shape their own board.
In theory, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you could get us the plans that we could then translate into a skeleton, that's definitely achievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So does anybody have any kind of thoughts about that? About maybe taking a course that you could shape your own board? Is that something that you'd like to do?
Or if you have had a board that you love and you wanted a replica in wood, that's also something that
could be done.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So somebody can bring you a board and say, I want this.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And what is the sustainability life of a wooden board? Is it like
the lifespan?
Yeah.
I mean, very long. I don't know. I haven't had one long enough yet to know. I mean,
he's so young.
Yeah. I've got a couple that are several years old, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I mean, I've got one that I've showed a few people here that I've taken to the wave numerous occasions and smashed into the concrete wall over and over again repeatedly, and that thing has never been repaired, and it's still going fine. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully not. But yeah, in terms of sustainability, well, longevity, yeah, they will last forever. They're very, very durable. I mean, you will obviously need occasionally to repair fiberglass, but if you do need a wood repair, like we can offer that service. That's not a problem, as opposed to going to someone like Dom at Bristol Bristol Surf Repairs. Yep. But sustainability wise,
sorry, I was just on what you were saying. Then, how difficult is a repair on a wooden board compared to a repair?
Definitely more challenging, but Matt has more experience with this than I do. So,
does that mean you've smashed more boards?
Well, yeah, basically. I took my my pride and joy on an EasyJet flight recently, and it was partly me and it was partly them. I left the vent plug in, and that it went pop, and the nose opened up. But there were definitely signs of it being lobbed from somewhere as well.
Right.
Anyway, I hadn't taken the best care of this board, and I've managed to patch it up. It's, unless I point it out, you wouldn't notice.
No. So, with regards to the vent plug, do you want to describe why a timber surfboard needs to be vented?
So basically, you've got a large volume of air trapped inside kind of what is the surfboard. It's hollow, so you've just got this big volume of empty space inside, and as the air gets hotter and colder, it will change kind of in volume. It will expand and go to a higher pressure, basically, and that can actually pop your surfboard. That can break the boards apart. So you've got a vent plug, which is effectively a hole that goes into the chamber, and in there you screw in this little plug that's got a Gore-Tex membrane, so the air can get in and out, but the water kind of stays out to keep it waterproof. And that's kind of replacing an older technology, which would just be put a bolt in there, take it out when you get out of the sea, put it back in when you get back in the sea. But so many people will have accidentally left that in, and that would be an annoying repair, given that it's entirely your fault, as my EasyJet experience.
So even the people in the business make mistakes?
Especially the people in the business make mistakes.
Become complacent. And then, if we moved on to fins, yeah?
So fins is a really difficult area anyway. It's like a whole other law into itself, isn't it? So it's not all about the shape of a board, is it? It's the fins make a huge difference as well.
Yeah, massive difference. And the thing is, there's so many variables about it as well. Mm-hmm. It's not just you buy a fin. There's shape, there's rake, there's pivot, there's base, the flexibility of the fin as well. That makes a huge difference as well. So yeah, it's not a straight cut.
No, so on your website there's lots of different fin options, and they will describe which one is best for certain things. So, for instance, you deal with longboard fins, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So what would the difference be in those?
So you've got sort of three main types. So you've got the flex fin, you've got the pivot fin, and then you've got the all-rounder. So the all-rounder is in between the pivot and flex. Mm-hmm. So all-rounder, obviously. Yeah. And then the pivot is more for nose riding, because it's got a larger volume and stuff like that. So you can nose ride, and it just creates drag. And then you've got the flex fin, which is really smooth and fast surfing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can really rock it down the line.
Yeah,
or something like that,
yeah. And then you won't, as soon as you put the rail in, you won't scrub off much speed because the fin will flex instead.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as soon as you disengage, it'll flex back into normal pattern, and then you'll be down the line again.
So when it flexes, and then you when it flexes back, does that give you propulsion as well?
Yeah, it drives you through the turn as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got to be a really good surfer to be able to surf all of those. Yeah, that's not for us.
Especially Pete.
Any questions about fins? Because he knows a lot about fins, so particularly longboard fins. Anybody? Any questions? No. It's a really difficult subject.
How do you make them?
Would you like to come up to the mic? It's going to be for the podcast, I saw, and we're going to use your voice as audio.
Hello, podcast. Hello, audio. How do you make your fins? And
I
what do you make
import
them
them
out
all from America. Mic drop.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about the fins you import and the people behind who make them and where they've come from?
Yeah, sure.
And who you supply as well, because you supply some major people.
I'm one of the main UK distributors of Flying Diamonds of California. So they're obviously in California. They're run by surfers, so they've got free reign on design and shape. Whereas most other fin companies, they're all really restricted in what they can do and stuff. So you've got all the best in the world, like CJ Nelson, Taylor Jensen, even our own Ben Skinner. He's got his own fin model as well with them guys. Kai Salas.
Yeah. So they're all riding the fins that you.
Yeah, I ride. Yeah, I've tried most of them out as well. Yeah. So yeah, I know how they feel in the foot and stuff like that.
So you can surf like Ben Skinner, now, can you?
No.
So yeah, I mean, if any of you got any questions at all about like fin placements, anything like that, Chris is the one to speak to. Yeah. And I mean, you go onto his website, Logfin Co, and he might help you out.
I'll try.
So has anybody tried any of the surf skates that have been on demo out there today? No? Did you have a go? No? What do you think?
Good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, good fun. I've got one of my own, and it's different to that. Your truck system is very different.
We can get you some sweet new trucks.
Cheers.
Come see me afterwards.
So yeah, this is like one of the questions I had about surf skates. Every single one we've tried. So you've got a slide.
I got a slide.
I've got a smooth star.
Smooth star, yeah.
And you've got the Arbor one out there, and every single one of them reacts differently to the way you move.
Yours is a yo, right?
Yeah, and yours reacts differently as well. So surf skates are made for surfboard training on the land, and like I was saying earlier, more or less shortboard training. How do you find them different, and how is your product different to the rest of them, where it manipulates the movements on the land?
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to start with when you're having custom shaped boards. It's good to have the variability.
Yeah.
Everything works differently. We work with Carver Trucks. They're essentially the OG surf skate truck. And it works on like a 3-point swivel. And I got to be honest, I've been a skateboarder for a long time. When I first saw a surf skate, I thought, well, that's a skateboard with a really loose front truck. Anyone can achieve that. But after really having a go and surfing, I don't surf as much as I skate, but I really have noticed that the turns that you can get on a surf skate, especially through a Carver truck, with the fluidity and the amount of washers and bushings that are in it, it allows you to really hit lines that you can't hit on a normal skateboard. So it really is there for a cause, and it really does work. Everyone that I've spoken to, regardless of their setup, their board, whichever one they have, everyone says the same. It really helps with the surfing. I mean, I've saw it, like when you jumped on that board, you instantly knew what you were doing, swinging your hips like you were generating speed on the face. Everybody knows how to do that, and I think they've done really well to pinpoint that motion and make it happen.
What are they like on price-wise compared? Because I know if you look at a Carver board, it's like £400
for a top of range Carver surf skate.
Arbor sits around 250, 260, so just underneath. But the good thing, the company I work for, which is called Shiner, we license Arbor, so we have a hand with all the design, the manufacturing. So luckily we get to sit it at a quite lower price point. But it's a well-made board. Arbor essentially make proper skateboards with really good dense wood, good trucks, wheels, and they're built to last. If you look after it, it'll last you a lifetime. I know I'm a salesman for the brand, but that's just how it is anyway. They're really well made.
And when we were chatting earlier, did you say that the decks are shaped by surfboard shapers?
The two boards were initially hand shaped by Ryan Lovelace and Tyler Warren, which were scaled down, made into Canadian hard rock maple, which is the standard that all popsicle skateboards are made, and put the Carver Trucks on, some good soft wheels, so it's about as close as you're going to get to an actual surfboard on the land.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, it's just an activity in itself, isn't it? If you're 99% of UK surfers, well, kind of landlocked surfers and weekend warriors and stuff, a surf skate really quenches that thirst for the surf. It does for us anyway, and we're about where we live. We're about an hour and 20 minutes from Saunton, where we like to surf to most. 30 minutes from the wave. I'm just not rich enough to surf there regularly. And the surf skate is kind of the bridge in between, isn't it? That just keeps you going, keeps you sane. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't tried one yet, then we definitely recommend it. And this guy definitely knows what he's doing, and he can show you how to ride it as well. So.
If anyone's around tomorrow, we have demo boards ready, and if you want to risk it around some very expensive fiberglass, please feel free.
So anyone got any questions for any of these guys out here? Timber boards, fins,
surf skates.
Does
everybody want to have a go on a surf skate and we can all kind of watch and laugh? That'd be great. Okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, well, if there's no other questions, then we'll wrap it up and let these guys get back to creating some interest around their businesses and stuff. Thank you all for coming today. Again, we really thank Andre for putting this on. This is great for the UK surf community, particularly in Bristol. If you're a landlocked surfer and you just kind of want to be immersed in the community as much as possible, listen to our podcast. That'd be great. You know, we'll just basically chat rubbish, and people listen, which is really weird. So we're just about to tip over the 100,000 download mark, and we're just blown away by that because it's a bit of a lockdown idea. We're totally rubbish at surfing, absolutely awful at surfing. But if we tell people that, we're bulletproof, you see. So when people see us in the wave, go, "You're a phenomenally shit surfer." You're like, "We know, we told you we were." Like, yeah, if you want to feel like you need that kind of surfing hit, then we provide that once every fortnight on a Monday. So today's podcast has come out. It's with an RL&I beach lifeguard who's talking about basically beach safety because we're coming up to the summer season. He's got a great story about binning off David Hasselhoff because he wanted to go surfing instead. So David Hasselhoff came to Woolacombe to do some filming and said to the RL&I beach lifeguards, "Oh, do you want to come and meet me in my hotel for a drink later on?" And they went, "It's 3 foot and clean, mate. No, sorry." And so David Hasselhoff is stood at the bar, being stood up by all these like English surfers. You know,
so, yeah.
What a kick in the teeth!
It's a normal monthly adventures and mishaps, really, and.
Yeah, we speak to guys like this in the industry, and we'd also speak to just normal guys that are in the community as well. So if you're interested, give us a listen. And thanks for coming along this evening. These guys are here tomorrow as well. If there's questions you thought of, or you want to try out surf skates, or maybe purchase one of these incredible boards
or fins.
Yes.
That's all right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for that, everyone. Well, what a great day that was.
Yeah, it was completely different than what I thought of, like hosting a Q&A. Thinking like, oh, loads of people will come and ask questions and blah blah blah. But like, people just sit there looking at you, like,
yeah, and we're like, oh, we better
do what we do with the podcast, just wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people said to us, "Oh, did you have questions prepared? Did you?" And we were like, "Yeah, no, we just went with it." On the day. We couldn't really prepare a lot for the day, apart from going around chatting to people, which we did.
Yeah.
And it was just great to just meet people, and people coming through and like saying they're fans of the show and listening to the show. And that's mind blowing. So thanks to everyone that came down and said hello, and people who came down and saw my board that was down there, and I now have bought tickets for the raffle.
Loads and loads of raffle tickets sold on that day.
Yeah,
and the day after as well.
One guy bought 10 tickets.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much. That's going to make a world of difference to like how much we give to surfability.
Yeah, so it's like. I don't even know what to say. I think we've sold over 200 tickets so far, so we've already raised over £1,000 for them. That's what I said to you at the beginning. If we can raise £1,000, I'd be happy, and we've gone over that already.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
So thank you to everyone who's bought tickets.
So it's still going as well. So make sure you go and buy a raffle ticket. You can buy more than one, UK only, and it's really bump up that prize even more.
There's 2 surfboards in there now.
Yeah, 2 surfboards.
So there's my board and a timber board from Matt from Emperor Surf.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel like the timber board should be the first prize, but from the start, my board was the first prize. But like, you know, second prize, you get a timber board, but like first prize, you get my board, you get a brand new surface wetsuit, you get log fin fin, you get North Core bag and leash, you get
Sea Monster
hanger, you get wax, you get you just get stuff. And
so
and
a lot
also
of people
the Wave have now sent us a £50 voucher as well.
Amazing,
So we've got to chuck that in there somewhere as well.
So a lot of people are asking, when is it being drawn? And we didn't actually tell people that. We were so excited about what we were doing. So it's mid-May, isn't it? And so we've got an actual date.
Yeah, got an actual date now. So the draw will take place on May the 14th, 2022.
So what's that, like 2 weeks?
Bear in mind, it is open to the UK only. Terms and conditions may apply. I'd be no good at one of those voiceover guys.
Yeah, so make sure you go and buy your tickets. And, yeah, like Pete said, there's also a surface wetsuit in there. So I tried mine. And this time of year, so I tried it the day after the Monday of the Expo. So I went on the Tuesday and I took my boys surfing. And I wouldn't normally put a summer suit on this early, but I thought I'd try it. I've heard great things. I've heard somebody at the Expo who I was chatting to, and I won't say the brand that his partner works for, but his partner works for a very, like a major wetsuit brand.
Yeah.
So he gets suits massively discounted, and he still buys a surface wetsuit.
That says something for me as well, because trying to work out how to say this. The brand that his partner works for is a major surfing brand. It's one of the big three.
Yeah. So I mean, and he was totally, because I at that point I haven't worn it, and I was chatting to him about it, and he says, "Oh yeah, I've got one," and then he said that, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I said, "I'm going tomorrow, and it's I got a summer suit," and he goes, "You'll be fine. Just try it." Tried it. The thing was brilliant. It was absolutely incredible. So this time of year, kind of combination with my Solite boots, was not cold at all, like not one bit.
Yeah, and it's been, so the time of recording this, you would have been going on around April 15th, around that day, 16th, whatever it is, around then.
Yeah, so mid-April. I mean, you know, it's
still
borderline.
cold.
Yeah, it's still cold, but you know, I think if you had like a really hot day, which we obviously get in April, then a surfer would probably think, I might try my summer suit.
Yeah.
But then you get in the water and it's bloody freezing.
Like, oh my God.
So not only that, but I did what you did the other week. One of my gloves I left at home, so I had to go in with no gloves, and I was still warm.
Yeah.
Isn't that mad? Like,
yeah.
Did
you do the old Michael Jackson on the wave? This is it.
It was. I'm like majorly impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Solite boots, wow.
The Solite boots, you do need your socks.
You do need,
the socks help you glide in. So first time I went and took my Solite boots, I forgot to take the socks with me, and they're a bastard to get in if you can't.
They
put
actually
the
help
socks.
get them off as well.
Yeah, they just glide in and out.
Yeah.
It just like slips right in there.
Yeah. So the socks are a must. But so I've worn like rubbish boots for years. So I really noticed the difference on these, and I suffer from Raynaud's, which is your extremities kind of going really cold, and the blood comes out of them.
This tells you a lot about him. He suffers from Raynaud's, and he always wears cheap boots.
Yeah, but this was it was just comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I was out in
you
the
can
water
feel the
and I was
board, can't
comfortable. You? Yeah, I could feel the board. My feet were warm, my body's warm, and I didn't have gloves on, and I didn't get Raynaud's in my hands because the rest of my body was so warm.
Do you think that's because the surface wetsuit's so tight when you put it on, first of all?
that is the thing. They are fitted very, very well.
Yeah.
So on their website, when you go down and you go to select your size, they give you a range of, say, like your height, your weight, your waist,
you've
and
got,
all this kind of,
measurements
your
on
chest
stuff. Yeah.
and you definitely have to do that to get the right one.
Yeah.
And I'm like borderline on a few of them. And
mine was borderline as well. It said, "Careful, fatty, this might not fit you."
It's snug, but the thing is like really stretchy and stuff. So
Yeah.
I've got the.
Well, they stretch, don't they? They said they stretch to your. So you get them to your thing, and they said they stretch over 4 or 5 goes.
Yeah.
They stretch
Just
out
get-
a little
yeah.
bit, so it might mould around to your body shape a bit.
But even though like it was really well fitted, it didn't restrict me at all because they are super stretchy. But there is also they give you an instructions on how to put them on. And
Yeah,
it was
that's
as specific
weird,
as
isn't it?
like left arm in first. Once you pull it up around your waist.
Because the zip hole on the chest is smaller than a regular one, and that's for heat loss or something to stop the heat loss. And so you have to put left arm in first. And I was thinking, what's it matter? So you put left arm in first, pull it over your shoulder, and then it makes sense because your right arm just slides straight down into it. And it's the same when you take it off. You just do that in reverse.
Yeah. And the whole thing, it was brilliant. I was really impressed. So I was in the water for about 3 hours.
Where did you surf?
I surfed at Woolacombe. It was really it was like a choppy day, when there's bumps on the wave face. To be honest, I haven't had a good surf in like 4 months now. So I'm struggling.
Say it as it is.
I don't know why. I don't know why. But that was definitely the better one out of all the ones in the last 4 months. I just don't think I get on very well with winter suits. Like I'm not very flexible anyway. So if something is then restricting me even more, I really struggle. But the Surface suit was brilliant. So I've got the Surface Eco version.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Easy to get off afterwards as well. And I thought it was phenomenal. Like I was really, really impressed. And like the Solite boots as well. Like,
do you know what you shouldn't do when you get a new wetsuit?
What's that?
Try it on when you're in the house on your own.
What, and then you're sweating in it and it kind of sticks to you a bit.
I had the panic. I had the fear. I thought I was going to have to run out in the street and have someone tell me take it off. you get that panic of like, when that's stuck. Like I can only describe it. It's like when you're a kid and you put your head through a chair or something. For a moment, you think it's stuck. And you're like, like I was at home on my own. And I was thinking, oh shit, I can't get out. I'm sweating. And the more you panic, the more you expand, the more you sweat. And like, it's just a vicious circle.
Can you remember when we were kids and for some reason used to like scaring yourself like this, but you used to get in to the sleeping bag head first, and then we would make you put your arms down by your side and then kind of pull it tight around your feet,
get panic,
and then you'd freak out, and then we'd just kind of sit back and watch you freaking out on the floor.
It's like that one where you used to get someone to put their opposite arms through the other arms of their jumper, so they're crossed and then their elbows lock and they can't get out.
I can feel the anxiety building in me now just thinking.
How come it was always me in the sleeping bag?
Oh, you're just easy to manipulate into doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, do that. It's like that Lee Evans one, isn't it? Lick a battery. Oh, do it again. I was going to. Oh, yeah. Plus, I recorded these 2 little bits of audio at the end of the podcast. I only got to chat quickly to Dom and Chris as well. So there's these 2 little bits of audio about what they thought of the show and everything. So this is Dom and Chris. So, Mr. Origin, how have you found the expo?
Google Maps.
You fucking idiot.
It was amazing. I've had such a great time. It's just been a blast. It's been so good meeting all these new people, and actually a load of people coming up recognising me from the show, which was very flattering and humbling.
Yeah, well.
But met some cool people.
Yeah. Sold a few boards, took some orders, making some boards, keeping you busy for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's me done. I'm booked out for the rest of the year. Give me a call in 2023. Yeah.
People actually will wait now.
Don't wait. Please call me. I'm broke.
Yeah. So what's been the highlight points of it for you?
Apart from spending time with you and Leighton, I'd say
Leighton was an afterthought.
No, do you know what? It's just been such a great vibe. I think that's been the highlight for me. Just hanging out with everyone. It's just such a good crew. Like the Bristol surf scene's amazing. Like all the punters are awesome. All the shapers are awesome. All the suppliers here are amazing. It's just been an absolute hoot.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Cool.
Your eyes look nice.
Cheers, man. So, Mr. Logfin, how have you found the expo and coming over to the right side of the country?
Right side? I don't think so. No, it's been really good, actually. It's good, really nice scene here. It's just nice to speak to people with very similar interests and from the same backgrounds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of interest in your fins.
Yeah, plenty of interest. Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Almost knows what you like. You know what you're talking about.
Almost,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, fake it till you make it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing anyway. And yeah, nice setting for
yeah, definitely
a surf expo in a
yes, it's
abandoned swimming pool that's now a skate park.
Exactly. It's Do you know what? It's perfect setting, I think.
Yeah.
Perfect because really nice bunch of people as well.
Highlight of the expo?
I don't know, really.
Apart from selling lots of fins.
Apart from that, just meeting everyone, really.
Yeah.
In the similar industries, yeah. It's been good. Really good.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Well,
and Leighton's sister, obviously. But
I'm leaving that in.
No, you're not.
You fucking am. Cheers.
Highlight of the show, was it, Chris?
Yeah.
Hey.
The
the
best
last
thing
time
about
I introduced any members of my family to you.
The best thing about it was he said it, and I saw his joking face, and he said he saw my face straight away, and me going, I'm leaving that in. And it was that moment of going, oh, shit, why did I say that for? But yeah, no, it was a brilliant
He's
day.
such a lovely guy. I let him get away with that.
Yeah, he doesn't normally let anyone get away with stuff like that. So, yeah. And, as we say, it was just a great time. We had a really good time. I was there both days because Leighton scrim-shanked on the second day.
I don't even know what that is.
Skived.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, he missed the second day and left me all on my own. To be honest, the second day was a hell of a lot better because I was on my own. But, yeah, it was
such a comedian.
Yes, lol. I've said lol a lot today, I think. Anyway.
But they're planning on doing another one, aren't they?
Yes.
Very, very early talks about one at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, might do another one at the end of the year. In all honesty, it was great and we had a really great time. And roll on another one.
Yeah. So, what have we got coming up next?
Don't know.
Okay, I shouldn't have asked you that question.
You've got something coming up.
Have I? What's that?
You've got something coming up in August.
Oh, yes. I'm getting married. Yes. Very, very, last minute.
Yeah.
So we've been engaged for a couple of years, but an opportunity has arisen.
She's fed up of waiting.
Yeah, for us to get married, but we've got to move quickly.
Yeah. So you get married in August.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's your best man's?
You and Spoons.
Did
I not ask you?
You hadn't asked either of us. We both had the conversation.
Spoons, he said the same thing. And he's like, who's your best man going to be? I'm like, oh, it's you and Pete, isn't it? He's like, I don't know. You haven't asked me.
You haven't asked me either.
I'm like, at work the other day, I was talking about the wedding. They're like, who's getting married? I'm like, me in August. They're like, what? Oh, did I not tell you?
Does Rachel know?
I got a lot of shit going on in my head. I've just nearly burnt down the house. So.
Oh, yeah, that's clever. Yes, that's pretty much it for today's show then. So don't forget to head over to Buy Me a Coffee. We've got a few more new members there. So thank you very much to every single one of you that's joined Buy Me a Coffee.
And now you're part of the Tux tribe.
Yes, you're now part of the Tux tribe. So welcome to all of you. And don't forget to head over to iTunes and leave us a review. You can now rate us on Spotify as well if you listen there. And head over to YouTube and please do subscribe to our channel. Please.
All that stuff really, really does help us. It might not seem like it would, and you might think, well, someone else would do it. But if you could just take 2 minutes and do it, that'd be really great.
Do you know what else we should mention?
What's that?
That we've just passed 100,000 downloads.
100,000 downloads. What the hell is that about?
Literally. So basically, we were before going, oh yeah, we're near 70,000 downloads. Turns out where we got our stats from. Yeah, pretty much. No, I can count. Acast can't count where our podcast is hosted through.
Right.
So it was telling us that our Apple downloads was 26,000 or 28,000 or something. Anyway, I logged into Apple, and I logged into Apple, and the downloads there is actually 49,500. So that's 20,000 more than they were saying.
Right.
Then Spotify, the figures were wrong on that as well. They're about 17,000 out as well.
Amazing.
So I've gone through all the things individually, and I think we're at 102,000 and something.
Amazing. That is absolutely incredible. So everybody that's listened...
I don't know why.
Yeah, everybody that's listened and supported, you have no idea how that makes us feel. That is just amazing.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone that's listened and downloaded episodes.
But you're not really enjoying it. It's weird. It's we just talk shit like we've done since we're 15, but we're now 40. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. Oh, what can you do? Anyway, so yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
we don't really
cheers.
know what to say. It's just like mind blowing. Like 100,000 downloads. I know if you look at it compared to like a YouTube video, it gets millions. It doesn't make a difference. But in the world of podcasting, 100,000 downloads is a massive deal.
Especially for like a podcast, which is kind of, I get the feeling a lot of podcasts fly under the radar, and it's just like a small group of people that find them, and then like share them with their mates, and it's like this little community around it. So to have like 100,000 means that community is bigger than we thought.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely mind blowing. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah. So thanks.
It feels like we're not wasting our time.
Yeah. So it could have gone the other way. We could have just been doing a podcast and no one listened to us at all. That would be good.
Well, you never know. Acast might have got it wrong again. They go, no, that's not 100,000. That's one.
Yeah. So don't know who's next. Can't remember off the top of our heads. But we'll see you next time on the next show in a couple of weeks. And I nearly went Jerry Springer again. Until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Cheers.